All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're talking about a massive shift in project management. We're going to explore how AI is turning the whole game on its head, moving us away from static, wishful thinking plans and into a world where we can actually predict the future and take control.
So let me start with a question, and I bet this one's going to hit home for a lot of you. You know the drill, right? You spend weeks building that perfect project plan. Every single dependency is mapped out, every resource is perfectly assigned, and then, boom. Day one, something changes. And that beautiful plan, it feels like it's already history. It's just a constant uphill battle.
But what if the real problem isn't the moving deadline? What if it's not that surprise stakeholder request? The real enemy, the thing that keeps you up at night, is complexity. And I don't just mean a big project with a ton of tasks. No, I mean that tangled, chaotic mess of connections and uncertainty. You know, the unknown unknowns that can completely wreck even the most solid plans.
And that really brings us to what you could call the complexity crisis. It's why, for so many project managers out there, the job feels less like you're a strategic commander and more like you're just a firefighter, constantly running from one blaze to the next, never, ever getting ahead.
So let's be super clear on what we mean by complexity. It's not just about a project being big, it's about how tangled everything is. It comes from those vague requirements you get or that brand new tech nobody's ever used before. But most of all, it's about having so many interconnected tasks that one tiny delay over here creates this massive, catastrophic ripple effect all the way across the project.
Now, for decades, our main weapon against this has been the network diagram. And look, it's a brilliant tool. It helps us see all those tangled dependencies, and, most importantly, it helps us find the critical path, that one single chain of tasks that absolutely dictates how long the entire project is going to take.
But here's the thing. In today's world where change is the only constant, we need more than just a static map. And this is where AI steps into the scene. And I want you to think of it not as your replacement, but as your new co-pilot, an incredibly powerful partner that's here to supercharge your skills.
So how does it do that? Well, for starters, it takes over all that soul-crushing admin work, the status reports, the reminders, and that frees you up to actually think strategically. But here's the real magic. It starts to predict the future. It crunches the data to flag potential delays and budget blowouts before they even happen. It helps you figure out the best person for each job, and it gives you real-time data so your big decisions are based on hard facts, not just a gut feeling.
Okay, now let's get into the coolest part, how this AI copilot completely revolutionizes the most important tool we have, the critical path. We're basically taking it from an old paper map that's instantly out of date and turning it into a live, turn-by-turn GPS for your entire project.
The classic critical path method is, it's the foundation of everything, but it has one massive, glaring weakness. It is built entirely on human estimates. Your whole project timeline, your entire plan, is only as good as your initial guess for how long every task will take. And let's be honest, in a complex project, that guess is almost always wrong.
This chart right here, this is the whole revolution in a nutshell. Just look at the shift in every single row. Static human guesses, they become dynamic, data-driven forecasts. A critical path that's a one-time snapshot? Nope, now it's a living thing, recalculating itself in real time. And instead of just reacting to problems after they happen, the AI proactively spots risks on the horizon and even tells you what to do about them. So, the secret sauce is really this simple three-step process. First, machine learning looks at your past projects and gives you statistically sound predictions for time and cost. Second, as new data comes in, like a task finishing early or late, your critical path instantly readjusts. And third, and this is huge, it doesn't just wave a red flag and say problem, it actually simulates different solutions and recommends the best possible way to get back on track.
Now, having this kind of predictive power, it's not just about changing your Gantt chart. It completely transforms one of the hardest, most important parts of your job, managing your stakeholders.
Just think about this for a second. The old conversation is always reactive, right? It's you on the defensive saying, well, we're late because this other thing was late. But the new conversation, it's proactive, it's confident. You walk into that room and say, our model is showing a 70% chance of a delay in 3 weeks, but I've already got 3 data-backed options for how we can prevent it. See the difference? You're not the bearer of bad news anymore. You're a strategic advisor presenting solutions.
But how do you share all this complex data without making everyone's eyes glaze over? Simple. You use the one language everybody on the planet understands, Visuals. Tools today can automatically take all that dense schedule data and turn it into a clean, simple flowchart. It becomes the single visual source of truth that everyone, from the engineer to the CEO, can understand in about 5 seconds. It builds trust, and it just makes the whole conversation easier.
Of course, anytime you have this much power, this much data, this much automation, well, with great power comes great responsibility. And that brings us to the crucial topic of governance and the new kind of leadership this era of AI demands. And let's just face the elephant in the room head on. It's the question everyone's thinking. If some AI model spits out a recommendation that could cost millions of dollars, how in the world can we trust it, especially if we can't see exactly how it made its decision? This whole black box problem is a real hurdle, and you have to tackle it directly. The answer isn't to just throw up your hands and say, no thanks. The answer is to govern the technology. And here's a really simple playbook. Number 1, always have a human in the loop. The AI gives you recommendations, but a human project manager makes the final call, period. Number 2, demand to know the why. You need systems that can explain the key drivers behind a forecast. And 3, you've got to audit for bias. You have to constantly check the data the AI is trained on to make sure it's not leading to unfair or skewed outcomes.
And when you do all this, when you combine your years of experience with these incredible tools and the right governance, your role fundamentally changes. You're not just a task tracker anymore. You become something much more, a strategic system integrator, a leader who masterfully blends human wisdom with the raw power of AI and data to deliver success predictably.
I love this quote because it just wraps everything up so perfectly. The baseline, that's your promise, your accountability. The AI, that's your crystal ball, giving you foresight. The critical path, that's your compass, telling you exactly where to focus. And that visual diagram, well, that's your universal translator for communicating all of it with absolute certainty.
So I'll just leave you with this one last question. This isn't science fiction. This shift is happening right now. The tools are available. The playbook is clear. The only question left is, are you ready to evolve? Are you ready to move past just managing with intuition and start leading with the undeniable power of data-driven confidence? The future of project management is here. Thanks for listening.